What's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Burb Files. So, sitting here this morning just thinking and pondering sort of on what to start on next. I don't want to get ahead of myself in one area and then have to play catch up and stuff. So, I was thinking I might actually sort of leave that part, and because there is a bit of a bit of messing around to do in the front here, got to put all new bushes, put all these arms apart and everything. I might actually just look at getting everything disconnected on the motor. Well, everything pretty much is, it's only really the exhaust. And maybe pull the motor out, chuck it out of the way. Because then while the motor's out too, I can give that a bit of a birthday and just get to clean up, repaint the block and stuff like that, and repaint the rocker covers. Just make it look pretty. It'll be cool to get another set of headers for it, but I don't think that'll be happening because I haven't really been working much with this lockdown thing, so might sort of have to sit down on our way up and look at getting the motor out tonight. Alrighty guys, so I just messed around and got all that last bit of the exhaust off up there. Just pulled the O2 sensors and stuff out of it. And the only other thing that's still connected was the power steering to the power steering pump. So I'm just busy draining that out now. So that's pretty much, should just be the engine mount bolts and the gearbox mount, and then lift it off. So I'll get the crane set up, get this hussy lifted out, should be sweet. Okay guys, so I think it's all free now. The engine mount bolts and everything out. The crane just sitting over the top. So I'm just going to start taking the weight now. I'll probably have to check a ratchet strop back to there and just tension that up because I'll try and keep it as level as I can. I don't want it to lift all bloody crazy. So just set the other camera up and then start picking it up, see what it does. And just like that, the motor's out. So I might just maybe even whip up a couple of little stands from those engine mounts just to have it sitting flat on something so it doesn't damage the sump or squash these lines or anything. It actually doesn't look too bad in here either. It's a bit easier to see now, obviously. Just a bit of a big birthday. That should be sweet. I just got to try and weigh up now what I want to do with this. So I might strip some of that and paint it as well. So. So not quite as much as the diff, but I decided to make a little bracket to hold the front of the motor. Just like a bit of an engine stand. Bolts onto the factory engine mounts. Bolt on up there just so it's not sitting on the sump. I don't want to crush all those lines or anything while it's sitting around, so this should just help stabilize the front of the motor. And the back, I try to make it so it should just sit pretty much level with the gearbox flat on the ground. So I'm just going to give that a bit of a clean up and a quick coat of paint. And then we can chuck the motor down on the ground. Alright, so there we have it. The motor sitting down on the ground, sitting on this little stand. Actually works pretty sweet. It makes it a lot easier to have sitting around the workshop when you're not wrestling with it every time you move it. So now I just want to see about getting the front of the chassis as high as possible, because I've got to try and paint underneath and everything as well, because I've got to pull all the suspension apart to rebush anyway. I'm going to try and get as high as I can, pull everything off, and then I'd like to try and get back to here sort of done and painted as soon as possible, and then I can start putting everything back together in the front end. Get that cleaned up, the motor cleaned up, and that back in as well. So that should be sweet. Sweet, so just like that I ended up jacking the back up a bit higher, just made this little temporary timber frame, because there's not much weight at that end. And this side just chopped it up on those old wheels and blocks. Just ready to strip this front end down. Just got everything like up to a nice workable height, because I've got to climb around underneath and paint all up inside, make sure I get everywhere nicely. So pretty stoked with that progress for this afternoon, so probably going to call it a day for this video. Let's see how far we get tomorrow, get that front suspension out, probably start prepping some of that. So just checking in guys, and see you in the next one.